Hi everyone, I'm Fixworks and welcome to my channel. I wanted to do this video even if I'm sick. I'm really sick, but I wanted to do this video because I was looking for informations about this topic and I couldn't find any. So I found that someone should talk about this topic anyway. Now we're talking about Epson and Epson printheads. These printheads we're gonna talk about the DX5 and DX7 printheads that are the most used on the wide format printers. Anyway, you can see that I have a document here showing the printhead itself, and I have some images to let you see what does it mean that a printhead is locked or it's unlocked. What does it mean that a printhead has the first lock or the second time lock? What does it mean? We're gonna talk about this. Well, a lock is a lock imposed by Epson to block the printhead to work on certain printers. Well, DX7 printers, DX7 printheads are pretty old. Well, they are, I think, of 2009 or 2008. So they are pretty old. So the first printheads were like unlocked, so they could work with any wide format printer. These printheads were built to work just with the B300, B310N, B500DN and B510DN. But some Chinese companies or other companies all around the world used these printheads to take these printheads on some wide format printers. So, well, Epson found out that these printheads were used on some printers that were not of Epson brand. So what happened? Happened that in 2012 the printheads have been locked. So Epson modified the internal software, the internal chip of the printheads to do a lock. So to not allow the printheads to work on the printers that were not Epson, made by Epson in a way. So what happened then? Happened that Chinese companies, because they were produced in China anyway, started to, how can I say, to work to develop a decoder. There is how can I say, a card, a developer card, that is a card that can actually made these locked printheads work also on the wide format printers and printers like not by Epson. This is an example of the DX5 decoder card. You can see that this is a decoder. It can be bought from China for I think $50 I think, and it could take the printhead to work on the printers not by Epson. But the problem is another one, because the first lock is bypassable, as you can understand. You just have to take this decoder. They give you also with the decoder the two cables, the two flat cables, so you connect these two cables to the printheads and these two cables to the main board, and you're done. But the problem is another one. The problem is that since April of 2014, Epson developed a second lock. That's the problem, because actually, and it's I think it's May 2016. There are no decoder cards for the second lock printheads. They are working on for a solution. They are working on a new decoder card for this new generation of printheads. That is not a new generation, because it is the X5 and the X7, so 5th and 7th generation of printheads. But you know that they are working for a way to take these printheads work on every printer that is not made by Epson. Well, actually, there's no way to use a second time lock printhead on a printer that is not made by Epson. Anyway, there are some ways, if you want to buy a printhead, to avoid some sellers to sell you a second time locked printhead if you need an unlocked or first time lock. So, as you can see here, you have to unscrew these three screws at this part of the printhead. Don't worry, it's a little delicate, but you won't damage any part of the printhead. So here you can see there is a code here. You have to pay attention to this code, because for an example, in this paper that I printed, the code was 123502001. 12 represents the year 2012. 3 represents the month March. This head is the old locked head, so the first lock. If the head has a code under this value, is probably sorry, a locked printhead. But if the code is 144 or higher, the printhead will be, of course, second lock. So this is a way to see if the printhead is locked or not. There are some other ways, but they are not so safe, at my advice. So here you can see the connector of a new head with code. Pay attention to this little pins here. And this is an old head. You see that is different. You see now. Also at the connector, we have another difference at both sides of the connector. So here's the first. You can see that we can see that the white space is different. We have some pins on the white space, and here we have some differences in the plating of the contacts anyway. So you can easily see if a printhead is locked or not. That's one. And you also can see if the printhead is locked or not, just to see the date of manufacture. On the DX7, at the layer of the, I think the right layer, the printheads, we have a sticker with a code. From that code you can see if the printhead is locked, first lock, second lock, unlocked. You can see by that. Actually, I can't tell you that code, the code for locked, the code for unlocked, and any other code meanings, but I think that you can find online if the code on your printhead means that the printhead is locked or not. Well, in this video I explained what does it mean lock on a printhead, and how does it affect to a printer to install a locked head. If you install a locked head on a printer, the printer will not start. It will display an error like locked printer, locked printhead, please change the head inside. So thank you for watching this video. If it has been useful for you, give me a like and subscribe, of course, if you want. Leave a comment asking me anything about printers, printheads, and anything about it, and I'll try to answer. I answer everyone, of course. So thank you and bye bye.